Hello everyone, my name is Abe Pickle, and welcome to my Veteran Sharpshooter build class guide, whatever you want to call it. Starting off today, we're going to be visiting our last video where I did a tier guide for every single weapon for the Sharpshooter, which is important. If you haven't watched it yet, I definitely recommend you go do so, because it will definitely give you some more clarification on why I'm not covering every single weapon in this video. So, starting off, I just want to thank everyone for watching that video, or just like in general all the support I got from it. There was a lot of really good conversations that were started from that video, and I just want to show my appreciation for how nice you guys were and how constructive you were with your criticisms and your opinions and such. That being said, we're going to get right into this little build video. No in detail stuff. We're just going to be talking about what I like to bring. This build has been proven. I have used it on Heresy difficulty. Damnation's another story. I haven't messed around with it too much. So if you're looking for a Damnation guide, I haven't played enough in that difficulty for me to say if this build is good in it, or if I had people that were better than me helping me have a better situation. So I didn't have to handle as much. So with that out of the way, we're just going to get into it and just start with melee builds, or the melee weapons. So starting off at the top here, there are two types that I prefer personally to go with, and I like the power sword mainly. I feel like this is the end all be all of melee weapons for the veteran sharpshooter. The Devil Claw sword is all right. I like to go for more cleaving weapons in general. I don't like those single targets that only hit one enemy, especially because if you're dealing with people at melee range, chances are they're going to be those hordes of smaller, more annoying enemies. So the axes in general, hitting one target, not necessarily my focus. If you are trying to do a melee build that does focus on that, I definitely recommend trying out the axes and such. I don't have enough to give my word on it. So I prefer the power sword or the Devil Claw sword, whichever one you can find a better build for. For your projectile, your gun, I like to go with the Cantrell MG4 infantry lasgun. If you're not sure, it's the lasgun that fires a little bit faster. I personally prefer that type of playstyle where I just start unloading into whatever is in front of me. And I don't know if I have a great build on it. I just have an epic one that's been doing me pretty well. It does 50% damage against unyielding and infested enemies, and 10% on Salvo's first shot. So, I don't know if that's just however many, like when I first start firing, or if it's the first shot in the clip, but I enjoy this style, this family of lasgun in general. Really accurate, really good ammo, yada yada yada. Other good options would be, if you can find a good combat shotgun, be aware that your ammo efficiency will be kind of lackluster, but you will do some decent damage, and I have a lot of fun with it. Braced autoguns are pretty fun, and the recon lasguns are great. And also, if you want to be a part of the bolt gun fanboys, obviously this is a great weapon, especially with the build we have here today, which solves one of the issues, and that is reload speed. So, that being said, Curios. I honestly go for things that add toughness or damage resistance as much as I can. This one has experience on it because I have the +2 max stamina, which is nice. I don't have great Curios right now, and I'm not maxed out yet, but it still applies. Heresy is the difficulty I am able to consistently get through without having to be a burden on my team. Alright, so for the feats, starting off, we're going to go over your basic abilities. You got the frag grenade, your bread and butter, throw it at big hordes. You have your scavenger. Whenever you kill or anyone in your team kills an elite or a specialist enemy, you guys get ammo. Everyone gets it. It's a small amount. So it's really cool. Just making sure everyone gets that small little ammo every single time a specialist is killed, especially on Heresy and above, because you have a lot of those specialists and elite enemies that are going to be giving your team that small amount of ammo that'll give you the advantage in every fight. You have your active ability, your volley fire. You enter a ranged stance for 5 seconds, instantly equipping your ranged weapon, and designated targets are non-Ogre elite and specialist enemy targets as priority. You deal 50% range damage during this time. So for 5 seconds, you deal 50% extra damage, and you mark normal specialists and elites, which is cool. Overall, make every shot count, 15% extra weak spot damage, and then be prepared. Increase ammo reserve for all ranged weapons, which is great because you're going to be firing a lot with this build. So there are 2 options for basically every single perk tree that you can go with depending on how you want to play. I prefer having the more active playstyle of this, where I'm a little bit closer up and more in the fray, not as far back. Definitely not front lines, but not 10 meters or 10 miles away. So I will be going over those as well. So starting off in the first tier, there are 2 options I like to go with. 1, exhilarating takedown. You get 10% toughness on a ranged weak spot kill. That is anything from your basic enemy to your specialist to your elite to your Ogren target. You get 10% toughness on that, which if you're going to fight and shoot in the hordes, this right here is a major game changer, because there's no cooldown from what I can tell. It's hard to tell with like everything that gives you toughness back with your team regeneration and so on and so forth, but this right here, I take this over the other option, which is confirmed kill. If you're going to target out specialists and elites specifically, this is the way to go, because you don't need to worry about a headshot. You just got to get the killing shot. So that gives you 50% toughness over time. You get the first 25% immediately and then 25% over time, which is great. This third perk, at arm's length, is alright if you can actually keep everything 8 meters away from you. But from what I found on Heresy and above, there's no really doing that. Or it's very hard to do so. You have to have a very good team. So I don't think that on average enemies are going to be more than 8 meters away from me with how I play. Moving on to the second tier, 2 options. 1, tactical reload, plus 20% reload if you have ammo in your weapon. So if you reload habitually, like a COD reloader, it's great, like myself. And also if you plan it out with the 5th tier perk, it ends up giving you even more reload speed. If you don't want to go with that and you feel confident that you can reload in time, the sniper increases your damage 20% based on how far away you are from your target. So that's really good, especially if you are staying farther back from your targets. It's extra damage. It's pretty good, especially for those snipers, those bombers, or anyone just giving you a bad time from a long distance away. So these 2 are the viable ones. This third one, demolition stockpile. If you like throwing grenades, go for it. But for this sharpshooter build, it's not that great. Moving on. Bio-optic targeting for the 3rd tier is my choice because it designates non-Ogren elites and specialists for everybody. And information in this game is very, very hard to come by sometimes. Sometimes people don't hear the audible cues for like the flamethrower. You hear it and turning on their flamer, whatever. For the grenades, some people don't hear the little ping that comes off or anything like that. So marking everything just lets everyone know, hey, there are specialists here. That's why I chose this. The other 2 options didn't outweigh that over my mind. 1, you and your allies in coherency have a 5% chance to gain a grenade on enemy elite kill. Elites aren't as common as the normal ones, and 5% is not a lot. Now granted, it'll probably happen once or twice a mission, maybe 3, or on the higher difficulties 4 to 5. It doesn't happen a lot, and it's not great. It's not for everyone, it's for that specific person on that kill. So honestly, I don't find this worth it. Covering fire is the only other option I would take over the bio-optics targeting, because when you kill an enemy with a range attack, allies in melee range of that target replenish 10% toughness. So if you feel like someone's going to go down and they're getting swarmed, you from a distance can kill some enemies that are really close to them to help them get that extra bit of health or armor to survive that, which is cool. If you want to do that and be more support-based and be helpful, I feel like it's a great way to help out your team. I prefer to just mark every single specialist because you never know when there's a hunter or a trapper, that's what it's called, in the horde, and you just need to take that thing out before he nets someone. For the 4th tier, I choose Unwavering Focus for 75% toughness damage reduction from ranged attacks during volley fire, which is a very niche thing to say. You're taking toughness damage specific, not health, just toughness damage reduction from ranged attacks, not melee, during volley fire, which is your ability that only lasts 5 seconds. So in tandem with the last tier, which gives you the option of refreshing the timer, this is really good. You can stay in your volley fire for a long time, and if we pair that with getting 10% toughness on a weak spot kill per headshot, you're getting toughness back, which gives you reduced damage for a long time. So the other options are duck and dive, dodge, sprinting, and sliding to avoid range attacks, grant 20% stamina. I'm not great at timing dodges. That's why I don't really play Elden Ring or any of the Dark Souls games. I like more FPSs. But if you are, I definitely think this is a cool part to play around with. I don't know if I would use it. And then the other option is Camo Expert, which is standing still enemies are significantly less likely to target you, which is fantastic if I wasn't habitually strafing because of all my history from like Halo and Call of Duty and all those other FPSs that I can't break that habit from. So if you are capable of standing still, unlike me, my little ADHD cracked out Girl Scout, then I definitely think this is a great perk to take if it actually does lower how much they target you, because for me, I always found myself still being targeted. I don't know if it was just I was standing too close to everyone or if I was not standing still enough. Anyway, regardless. On to the 5th tier. We have 3 perks. Frag Storm. Your grenades add bleed, which is cool if you want to use it against like bosses like the Plague Ogrins or the what are they called? The Beasts of Nurgle. These can definitely be helpful. I honestly don't use them because I don't use grenades as often as I should, and I use them more for clearing the Horde. The second perk is Deadshot, which is a weird one. This is one that I also recommend using if you prefer it. While using your ranged weapons alternate fire, you have 25% increased critical chance and 60% reduced sway, but lose 10% stamina every second you're aiming and an additional 5% for each shot. To give you an idea of what that looks like, we're going to just show you, overall, you are going to be doing your crits a whole lot more, but your stamina is what decides that. If you don't have any stamina, this perk deactivates until you have more. So I like to go with the third option, one after another. You get 30% reload speed on elite kill. Now, if you remember, the second tier has 20% reload speed if you have ammo in your weapon, meaning that even if we have one of those big boy bolters over here, these luggy boys that are so slow and a little awkward at first, you kill one of those elites, 2 shots, reload. That's significantly faster for the reload and definitely is going to get you back on the way. You still have to deal with, if you have to melee someone up close, you pull out your power sword and then you pull out the bolter again. You got to deal with him charging the handle again. So that's an issue that I have. That's why I like the las guns a little bit more. A little bit more my playstyle. Going with the last tier. This is going to depend a lot on how you want to target things. If you want to target just normal, if you want a lot of toughness and you want to specifically target those specialists and elites, sustained fire is your go-to. Volley fire reloads your weapon and replenishes 60% toughness. Killing a designated enemy during volley fire refreshes the duration, which is cool. This is a very good perk. It gives you more toughness, and you're targeting specialists if you have a bunch of them coming out. This can be a very good thing, and you will sustain your volley fire for a decent amount if you have specialists and elites nearby that are non-Ogren. The higher levels you get, the more Ogren-based elites and specialists you're going to find, meaning this perk will not work against them. 2. Counterfire, the one I honestly recommend. You get an extra 25% weak spot damage during your volley fire. Pair that with your make every shot count, which gives you an extra 15% weak spot damage, paired with your extra 50% damage from the ability itself. So you are getting 40% extra weak spot damage, plus also the 50% range damage whenever you use the ability. Then also, volley fire now designates all shooters as priority targets as well. So specialists, elites, and anything with a gun in its hand, basically. There are a couple that are outliers, but still. Volley fire, then anything with a gun, or that's highlighted, refreshes your duration. This is the one I recommend because, like I said, we're shooting into the crowd. So we're getting a lot of headshots, as long as you're placing your shots properly, giving you more toughness. You're reloading habitually whenever you get an elite kill, which also, by the way, you can get an elite kill at the beginning of the magazine, get all the way to the bottom of that magazine, and reload with 1 shot left, even if it's 25, 30 seconds later. This doesn't go away. It doesn't stack, but it doesn't fall off either. So, at least not from what I've found. So, you get that 50% reload speed as long as you reload before you're out. Everyone knows where those specialists and elite enemies are. You take 75% less damage consistently as long as you're getting those headshots on those enemies, and therefore keeping your counterfire or your volley fire up, giving you more toughness, reducing the damage you take, increasing your reload speed, marking all specialists in the area. This right here is the build to go for in my mind, and has really helped me get through heresy difficulty, and like I breeze through malice difficulty now. I have almost no issues whatsoever with it, even with a random team of people that honestly do not know how to play the game. But also, I'm completely forgetting we have to go through that last part of the perk, even though I feel like this is the build to go with. If you are targeting the Ogryn specialists, the bigger they are, plus 50% extra damage against Ogryns and monstrosities during volley fire. Volley fire designates Ogryns and monstrosities as priority targets now. Killing a designated enemy during volley fire refreshes the duration, which means if you're fighting like those heavy Ogryns or monstrosities and you have a mutant or a gunner or something specialist nearby, you can refresh that timer maybe once or twice if you're lucky, and you can deal a whole lot more damage. This perk here is meant for anyone using any kind of big boy weapon like the bolter, like the plasma gun, like the Hellbore las gun, the combat shotgun, even to just take down those heavy targets as quick as possible. Which I think it definitely has some potential, but it definitely loses that refresh benefit a little bit more than the counter fire does, which is why I go with it. But anyway, my name is ABA Pickle. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit like, comment, subscribe. And also, speaking of subscribing, since you watched through the entire video, I want to just call people out. I love how many people interacted with the last video, and I love all the support and constructive criticism, as I stated before. But one statistic kind of stuck out to me a little bit. 99.4% of you guys aren't subscribed, which means 0.6 of you guys are, and it would really help me as a content creator if you could just hit that red button down below. If you could, I'd love you forever. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!